Okay. So Jim, you got a little emotional in there. What does it feel like now, having got that?
There was definitely a lot of pressure on me coming in with a 4-5 losing streak. But those are all ranked guys at this point. They're all in the top 15. But still, they weren't the best performances from me. And I don't like to make excuses. I had my opportunities in every one of those fights, and I was unable to capitalize. But the journey that I've been on, it's tough for me because I don't want people to know. I don't want people to know what I'm going through. I don't want them to experience it themselves. I don't want them to have a loved one experience it. And the most messed up part is that my Lyme disease is not that bad comparatively to some people that I've met. But it sucks. And the last 6 or 8 months, I felt pretty damn good. And I've been able to train in a way that gets me ready to do my best inside the octagon, and that's something I hadn't been able to do in a long time, way too long. And in 2015, I had to stop lifting. I had to stop doing my strength conditioning because I didn't have enough energy. If I did a light little circuit, or I lifted, benched 185 pounds, I feel like I lifted a boulder off of my chest and I wouldn't be able to move for 3 days. So I kind of just backed away from that. I was getting in some running and, doing some of the longer distance stuff, actually trying to take a little weight off at that point because my weight cut started to get a little harder too. So I stepped away from that, but my ability to push, my ability to recover quickly and go hard and get in guys' faces is what has won me fights. In those 30 fights in the UFC, that has won me the majority of the fights that I've won, is pressure, and I've finally been able to train in a way that allows me to use that pressure as a weapon. And it's put a lot of pressure on me because it was like, well, I know what I can do. I've been doing it in the room for the last couple months now. Like, I need to do it inside the octagon. I felt like I was going to do it in April, and then I got poked in the eye, and then I saw 3 of them, and they need me in the face. And I mean, that's just the way that it goes. And I was a little salty about that one because I fought guys that would acknowledge it, but I fought plenty that probably wouldn't, and he didn't, and that's just the way that it goes. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to, have that level of sportsmanship. So.
What was it that's been holding you back?
Lyme disease. I finally, I wasn't sure when I got bit by a tick. In my lifetime, I found one attached to me, and that was when I was like 14. But like I said, I've been able to work with a couple organizations and learn a lot more myself about it. And knowing what I know now, I can pretty much guarantee that I was probably bit in like late May or June of 2013. But then being an athlete and being in shape and continuing to work out helped my body kind of beat it a little bit and fend it off. And it finally, in like 2015, started to get a little much, and that's when I started getting really bad joint pain. And then the brain fog kicked in, and it was just, it was a pain in the ass. It was all things that I thought were associated with being a professional fighter. It's like, I say the wrong word every now and then. I use my head as a weapon. What do you expect? It was one of those things that I didn't even test positive for it. My doctor's like, we're gonna try clinical. We'll put you on doxycycline. If you feel better in a week, you have Lyme disease. And it was pretty significant, the difference that I felt, particularly right away, and just kind of the brain fog is one of the things that they associate with it. It's kind of similar to Alzheimer's, which is scary, but it kind of lifted to where I could actually get things done. Because for a while there, like I'd go to clean my garage and just stand there for a little while and not really know where to start, not know what to do.
It sounded like it was quite a process to get to the diagnosis.
It was, and the process to the diagnosis was the fact that I'm hard-headed and stubborn and associated my symptoms really bad knee pain. I was getting a lot of numbness in my hands. But I've had neck injuries, and I've had compression fractures in my back. So I was expecting, something like that, and it just turns out that a lot of the symptoms that I was feeling were because of the Lyme disease. And, at that point, it kind of had a pretty good hold, and it has been, difficult to kind of get to this point.
So Jim, I mean, just even talking to you right now, you can tell it feels like there's a weight that was lifted up.
Huge weight, dude. Huge weight. Like I said, I know what I'm capable of doing. I know who I am, and and I've been ranked in the top 5 in the world, and nothing has changed for me. I'm still that guy, and I've been training and busting my ass, but like I said, I always felt like I was running water, and I finally, in the last few months, feel like I'm kind of breaking out of it. And it's, unfortunately, it's one of those things. This dirty little bug might come back and kick my ass again, but I'm going to be diligent and try to get the most I can out of it.
Is that like a lifelong battle, or is that something that
potentially? It really is potentially. It's really stubborn. It's the bacteria is actually it's faster than your T cells, so you have to take other medications and stuff like that to kind of help it out, help your body out. I've been supplemented pretty well, and the basic stuff though. It's like you gotta make sure you take your vitamin C, and all that stuff. But actually, I started taking some chaga mushroom stuff because it's supposed to help your body create more T cells. I feel like that might have been it.
So can just finish it? Finishing Alex White in the way he did in a couple minutes, and it was a highlight reel finish. When's the last time you felt that good in the octagon?
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. I was nervous going in. I was really nervous going in because of the pressure that I put on myself, and just like I said, 4-5 losing streak, and but I haven't been as explosive of an athlete inside the octagon in a few years.
Was there ever a time during that losing streak where you doubted whether you would ever be able to make it back to this point? Like whether you still had this in you?
I mean, it was tough. It was definitely tough. There were definitely difficult parts, and I have doubted whether I wanted to do it anymore. I doubted whether I was able to do it anymore. But for me, once I found out what was going on, that lifted a huge weight. I found out 3 days before I fought Diego, and I mean that was the most difficult training camp I've ever had. I mean I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have been in the octagon that night. But just knowing that I'm fighting this other thing, it put that thing in front of me, man. It's like if a fighter doesn't have a fight coming up, sometimes they get out of the gym and they get fat and they don't do the right things, So knowing that I had this opponent standing in front of me, it's made it a lot easier for me to make the right decisions and to eat right and to get my rest, in.
Becoming the first person in the history of the company to have 30 fights in the UFC. Does that mean anything to you?
It does mean something to me. It's I was hoping to be there a little bit earlier, honestly. I've been shelved a little bit here and there, a couple times where they postponed me to save me for like a New Jersey, New York area card, where I'm pretty sure that I could have fought twice. So I feel like I could be at 32, 33 right now, but it's an accomplishment I'm really proud of. It wouldn't be easy either way. It surely wasn't easy. The way that I had to take, and it's been awesome. It really has. It's almost 10 years with the organization, and it's been amazing for me.
How far do you want to take this now that you feel like you've kind of figured this out?
I don't know if I can keep my body healthy. I got a couple more years left in me. You know, 35 is a lightweight that's getting rather old, but like my jiu-jitsu instructor says, I'm faster than I look. So, so hopefully I can, you know, still keep that speed a little bit and keep competing with these guys.
Were those nerves you said you had for your 30th walkout? Are those how do those nerves compare to walkout number 1, walkout number 2? Like, do you remember those times? You know,
I was, you know, one was easy. The first one was easy. You know, I've had the opportunity. My brother paved the way for me. You know, he fought a month before me, went out, steamrolled his opponent, and it was like that was the same thing with our first fight. He fought like 2 fights before me, went out, choked his kid out, and I found myself like skipping back to the ring. I was like, oh, you know, like I'm so nervous for him, and then it's like, oh, you won, sweet, you know, and you're just like, all right, I got this. You know, this is easy. I'd say that there was more nerves and pressure on me. You know, I handle it differently these days. I'm not nervous of the unexpected. That's the biggest thing is you don't know what's going to happen. You know, so I'm not nervous about that because pretty much everything that can happen has happened. You know, I've been in the bloody battles and dealt with it and stuff like that. And unfortunately, been knocked out pretty quick, but. That wasn't the part of it. The part of it was just, knowing that I needed to compete the way that I'm capable of, and I really freaking wanted to. It's I expect the most out of myself, and when I haven't done it, it's a letdown to me, and I don't really care what anybody else thinks. I'm going out there to perform for myself, and I'm one of those guys that I'd probably fight if there wasn't a UFC card, if there wasn't UFC 228, it's like, hey, you want to fight in the basement somewhere, why not? Let's give it a shot, it's just it's the test. I like the test.
Congratulations.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
30 more.
That's right. I don't know about that. maybe 5, 10. 10 will be a push.